and welcome to Sandown in round 2 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. And let me tell you, there's been a tremendous build-up to today's big race here at Sandown. A huge crowd in attendance, participating with the grid walk to meet the top riders and the top drivers that we'll be seeing here in action today.
Dick Johnson off pole position in the Shell Sierra. Out of position 2, we'll have Glenn Seaton in the Peter Jackson Sierra. Out of position 3, his teammate Wayne Park in the second of the Sierras. Jim Richards in the first of the GTRs out of position 4, with his teammate Mark Skate out of position 5.
And the Sierra's looking good at Sandown. Off to the start, the two Nissans just light up the racetrack, and they are long gone down into turn number 1. The Sierra sat there buzzing wheels, trying to get off the mark. They couldn't do it. The two Nissans, hard to get all that power through those fairly narrow tyres, Alan.
Sierras, admittedly, the GTRs also have the turbo problem, but with the traction of the four-wheel drive, it just absolutely slingshots them from any position they're in.
Look at this. Up on the outside, we're talking about horsepower, and that's how quick the Sierras have been here since Friday at Sandown, as Johnson, with a huge cheer coming up the crowd, sits in behind Jimmy Richards. And there's our Dunlop race cam as we come up to the inside.
Make no mistake, this Turbo Ford is still a pretty fast car, and certainly in Dick Johnson's hands, a very effective tool around Sandown.
Great shot.
As Alan said earlier in the day, Dick really loves this circuit.
Well, here they come, past the start-finishing line for the first time. And Johnson, sitting in the draft to Jim Richards, pulls to the outside, and there he goes. But Richards comes back under brakes. Crowd got a huge thrill out of that. Johnson tacks in behind the Winfield Nissan. Great shots here from our Dunlop race camp. And John Bowe, in the second of the Dick Johnson cars, has made a brilliant start, keeping in mind John was the fastest man here yesterday. Car packed up this morning in the 3-lap trophy dash, blew an engine. They've repaired an engine in just over an hour.
No, they're doing well. I would have surprised that Dick didn't get Jim at the end of that straight. He was looking in a very good position, but the brakes on the GTR are superb, and Jim was able to hold him off. This is a tricky part of the circuit, very tricky. Whistling down through the S's. A tight left-hander here. No chance for any passing in this position. But John Bowe's already replaced Dick as a challenge to Jim Richards.
Here he comes. Down the outside as we take the Nissan race cam. And Jimmy Richards will now try and come back under brakes, but John had that sussed out fairly well. He took him early in the straight. Didn't wait till the last moment. So John Bowe of Tasmania leads heat number 1 today, round 2 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Richards runs in second. Next is Dick Johnson and Mark Scaife in 4th place.
Bowe's the only guy running in the 15s at the moment, and he's certainly opening up the lead. There's the HRT Commodore. We won't see a lot of this car this year. I think they're only scheduled to run 3 rounds, but
pity they're not really running the entire Touring Car Championship. I mean, it is Holden's flagship, and hand-picking 3 of 8 or 9 races.
Not a big effort, really, is it? Any privateer
well, I don't
could do
think
that.
so,
Yeah.
particularly when you want some of the rules changed. But Thomas doing a good job. Not complaining about Thomas. He's out there driving when he's allowed to drive or when they have enough budget. But I would have thought a Holden Racing Team Enterprise controlled it by a Scott.
Well, you
maybe
know where they
Tom
like to keep their money.
Yeah, I think Tom does. I think Tom should get the message about touring cars in Australia.
All right, he just slammed her down from 6th down to 5th through the S's into 4th.
down to second, I am.
Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. You're going to have to give me a ride here to refresh my memory. Okay, up to 3rd. Do it yourself, mate. You can talk your way through. You don't need me.
Yeah, really. There's oil everywhere here, pal.
Uh-huh. Easy here on the left-hander. You had a little nudge here this morning in the trophy dash. Here we go. Nasty onto the straight. It's bumpy over the causeway.
Dick, this looks pretty good. Bowie's taken off like a scalded cat.
He must have my engine.
He must have. Someone's pulled a crook change on you this morning. He's opened up to about 6.5.
Yeah, I know. That's the gun engine I think they had for me for Simmons.
That's the one with the 8,500 RPM rev limiter on, is it?
Obviously.
It's good to see him come in for a win. He's really had pole position for the last 2 races, but he comes off the pit turn. Checkered flag time for John Bowe of Tasmania. He's going to do it very comfortably indeed. A 9-second break over team leader Dick Johnson in the number 17 car. 3rd place will go to Mark Scaife in the Nissan GTR. 4th to Jimmy Richards. And 5th will go to Glenn Seaton in the Peter Jackson Ford Sierra. About 10 seconds away. Heat number 2 of round 2, the Shell Australian Touring Car Nationals from Sandown Raceway. And John Bowe, I think, has got a problem with his car. Hand came out, but he's ready to go. He gets off slowly, and as expected, Richards goes straight down the outside. The problem was, though, that Mark Scaife missed the kick and was gobbled up by a whole fleet of Commodores as they go to the bottom corner.
I'll tell you what, the two Shell cars put a sandwich on the front of Mark Scaife there. Closed the door very effectively as he tried to leap off the line, but his teammate Richards just did the rocket up the outside, and he leads them round for the first lap. Tremendous start once again from the Nissan GTRs.
Jim knows what it's like to get up that inside line, and he knows he wants to be onto the back straight first, and he doesn't want anything but fresh air in front of him. But here, already challenged by John Bowe.
Here comes Bowie up the outside, car number 18.
Gee, there's
watch him try and get across very quickly to the left side of the road so he doesn't leave the gap open. No, he's able to hold it, and Dick Johnson of Queensland pulls it up into the 3rd spot. So it's fairly close. Thomas Mazira didn't get away to the best of start, and that looked like Peter Brock, who got away very well indeed. Scaife back in position number 6.
Okay, as we come up onto the right-left, going into the main straight. A challenge under brakes by Johnson. Having a go at Jim. John Bowe's already well clear.
Isn't this great stuff as we take our Nissan race cam?
And right behind Dick should be Mark Gibbs. I think I saw him there before we changed shots. He's not there. So Jim's left a little bit of a gap on the GIO car as they break at the end of the straight. But Mark Gibbs is right up there too. A new lease of life for the GIO car. And Peter Brock in 05. You can't keep him down. Mind you, this is the 2nd heat. These tyres have already done the 20 laps in the 1st heat. So they'll be conscious of trying to conserve and stretch as much out of this rubber as they possibly can while still getting on with a hectic race.
Well, certainly Mark Gibbs is giving the GIO machine a good run. He's right in the slipstream behind the sister cars. This is a customer car built by Fred Gibson for Bob Forbes Corporation. And GIO, along with Windscreens O'Brien, have put a very nice team together here and running well in this 2nd heat.
And look at the little Vimmer. This thing will get quicker.
Oh, hear the brakes lock.
Yes.
He's got to be a little bit careful doing that to Peter Brock.
Seaton to 10 with a lot of work still to do. It gives you an idea of the fairly tight and twisting layout here at Sandown, particularly around the top end of the circuit.
Seeing plenty of brake lock-ups there. We won't want too much of that. These tires on their last legs, they've done the 20 laps in the 1st heat, and certainly flat spotting them under brakes not going to augur well for the last 5 or 6 laps.
Glenn Seaton has a look down the inside of Thomas Mazziel. Look at Thomas.
He locked it up.
He's out of control.
And protecting the corner. You see, he unbalanced himself, slammed on the brakes, and
oops, and Wayne Park or Glenn Seaton may have been in the aftermath of all that.
Nasty one. That's life in the fast lane. That was definitely Thomas getting a little bit edgy, tried to protect the corner.
Yep, he was very, very late on the brakes too, from what I saw.
And unsettled the car, locked up the rear, and he was wise to let it go. But that Armco was quite close to the circuit there in the S's. Here we go again.
Have a look at this on the replay. Thomas has already gone. He's off to Gowings here. And it starts to use all of the racetrack. It's headed onto the grass. There's guardrail coming up, but Seaton has gone through and just got the car tally, or there may have even been some oil there.
Possible.
Have a look, because he was sideways just about the same time as Thomas.
Now, if you look at here, Thomas is really hard on the brakes, and that's when the car gets out of shape, and that's when he loses it. He's just a little bit out of shape there. He's offline.
He just waited a bit too long and ran out of ground.
And it's getting hot at the front of the field. They're over half distance now, with Dick Johnson running in the 2nd spot and Jimmy Richards closing all the time as we take the Nissan race cam down to the left-hander.
Yes, you can see the acceleration off that left-hander. The 4-wheel drive cars just leap out of the tight corners. Dick starting to lose it. He got a little bit tight there. That's touch. You can't blame Jim for that. Dick had the same problem that Thomas Mazira just had. Just locked her up a bit under brakes and had to give way. That's the tires going off on him. Now here, horsepower taking over, ramrodding it up the back straight, and he said, I'll have a go. If he's got enough time, yes, he can come across.
Got to get across the inside.
You know one thing for sure, Jim Richards will never hit anybody in a corner like that. He might give you a little tap in a slow corner like we just experienced, but not a high-speed corner like that at the end of the back straight. And here Dick definitely hurting. He's using the curbs everywhere. He's just losing control of the car at the pace he has to go, or the pace that Jim is forcing him to go. You'll see that Chelsea are just slopping around a bit.
Oh,
another bounce and a flip, and this time Dick definitely went.
Yep.
Jim driving forcefully, I'd have to say, not ungentlemanly. That was life in the fast lane. Dick Johnson definitely losing control of his car. And by that I mean the tires just getting soggy on him, and he just couldn't maintain the pace that was being exerted on him by the GTR.
Order is John Bowe, the race leader in the Shell Sierra, running in second place. Jim Richards in the Winfield Nissan. Third spot to Mark Scaife in the second of the Nissans. And then, of course, back there in fourth spot is Mark Gibbs in the GIO Nissan, and then Peter Brock. That's the order as Larry Perkins, Larry and Dick Johnson.
These guys are getting, so this is where the drivers are going to have to exert all the experience they've got. Larry saved that beautifully, but less experienced driver may have been in a lot of trouble there. That's 1,300 kilos of metal going for a ride, and the tires have said, look, we've done our bit. You're asking too much from us. Larry definitely skating around now. I think it's only a matter of time before Tony Longhurst gets the bite on him. Nice slipstream here up the front straight. Not quite close enough. The old Commodore still holding him off.
Going to take one big lick here under brakes as he goes through on the inside of Larry, so he moves up a spot.
He'd have difficulty matching a BMW under brakes, but Larry's got some good grunt out of the corner.
Larry didn't give it away.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. Let's have a look at a replay we've got for you. This incident with Larry Perkins, when Larry gets the tail out, there's Wayne Park in 35. He's jumped over the curb and he's gone straight out to South Melbourne. So Park off the racetrack and rejoins again. Perkins position number 7. It's been quite an outstanding drive for Larry Perkins. Bowe leads now by 4.8 seconds.
So he'll be counting every lap to go now. It'll be a nightmare for him. This will be the longest 3 or 4 laps he's had for a long time, but still, by any measure, a reasonably comfortable lead from Jim Richards at the moment.
Oh, plenty of fisticuffs back here,
yeah,
too.
if you want to put the nose up inside Larry, you've got to fight for it. He doesn't give way.
Larry can make that car 13 feet wide if he wants to. He's a tough customer.
And a good result for the Shell Johnson team as John Bowe still leads them down to the pits for the final time. Everyone standing next to the pit wall. Bowie's been chasing one of these for ages, and today he wins this one on merit all the way. Last turn. Spectators stand in the grandstand. John Bowe. Clean sweep today for the Johnson team at Sandown. They take round number 2. Mark Scaife in the Nissan finishes in second, and third place will go to Jim Richards. And he deserves all the accolades today, John Bowe.
He did extremely well.
I must say that's a great return to form for the Ford Sierra.
Certainly is, Mark. It's a great effort by all the guys in the Shell team. They made a very good car for me to drive today, and the Dunlop tyres were tremendous, so we've really made some inroads.